Hey guys, today I want to talk about anxiety. And the reason I want to talk about anxiety is because I've been struggling with anxiety. And so this is something that I am learning to tackle experientially, and I'm doing it right now. And so I want to share what I'm doing to tackle it. So the thing about anxiety and being anxious, feeling anxious, is when you're feeling anxious, it means that you're not trusting that everything is going to be okay. You're not trusting the process. You're not trusting the universe, and you're not having faith that what you manifest is possible. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because this is something I think, everything I've heard in studies from my therapist, from my dietitian, is that a lot of people starting in 2020 developed anxiety for the first time, including myself. I've struggled with other things, but never anxiety. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today, because I think it's something that's really affecting a lot of people and that maybe isn't being talked about that much in an environment where it really needs to be. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm Lily. I'm here to share stuff about manifestation, the law of attraction, mindset, all that good stuff that helps make us feel better. So if you're liking these videos, if you could give me a like down below, subscribe, and support the system, that would be great. The YouTube algorithm. So today I was struggling with anxiety. I was struggling this morning, and no matter what I did, I couldn't shake it. Like, it was just this feeling of agitation. And I tried sitting in the sun, playing with my dog, doing my gratitude practice, my affirmations. I did some yoga. I was pulling out all the stops on my coping skills and on my shifting skills, and nothing was working. And the thing is that you can't manifest from a place of anxiety. Because when you're anxious, you're not trusting the universe. And when you don't have faith, when you don't believe that what you want is actually going to happen, is actually possible, is actually manifesting, you cannot create it, because like attracts like. So if I'm anxious, I'm going to spiral into this sort of anxiety attracting more things to be anxious about. And when that happens, it becomes harder and harder and harder to shift. So what I found was that the reason that I was unable to shift by distracting myself was because I wasn't addressing the underlying things that I was anxious about. And in fact, I wasn't even identifying that there was anything there. And so no matter what I did on a surface level of saying affirmations out loud or thinking of things I'm grateful for, or, going out and getting some vitamin D, like, the things underneath were not being dealt with. So the anxiety continued, right? So then I had a therapy session, and I'm like, okay, I'm agitated. I don't feel like doing this, blah, blah, blah. I always know that when I'm trying to avoid therapy, it's because I need the therapy, and I don't want to go deep. I just want to keep distracting myself from what's under the surface. So, of course, I keep my therapy appointment, and I start talking about some of the things that might be frustrating me, because she says, if you're agitated, it's for a reason. It's not just random. There's something underneath. So I start thinking about all the things that do cause stress that are going on in my life, and started to realize sort of the connection between all of it, and the connection between the biggest stressors and all of these little stressors, because this big stressor was causing the initial anxiety, and then the smaller stressors it was like I was manifesting the smaller stressors because I was coming from a place of anxiousness, right? So in order to shift, I had to unblock the flow of energy, because I was literally blocking the flow, right? Like, emotions comes from the root emote, which means to move. Emotions have to move through you for you to continue to move energy. And when you can't move energy, you can't shift. You can't do it. There's no way to shift when you're still blocking stuff in that needs to be processed. So I started talking about the things that were really bothering me and that were under there that I had been avoiding so much that I didn't even think were there. But the second someone says, well, hey, what about this thing? Could that be bothering you? It's like, oh, it's not that I didn't know they were there. It's that I wasn't having enough compassion on myself to say, hey, this must be making you anxious. Like, that's a big thing to deal with. Maybe you're anxious for this reason. But instead, I was pushing it all down, thinking like, I'm stronger than this. This is not, toughen up, Lily. Like, you can just get through it all and blah, blah, blah. And not having a little bit of compassion for the fact that these things really could be disrupting my energy. So that was the only way that I was finally able to shift and come on here and be like, okay, I tackled this. Let me share how. Was by acknowledging and processing those things and crying over them, because they were things that were upsetting. And because I was avoiding them, they were causing me to be agitated and distressed. But what was under there was a primary emotion of pain, right? And so when you're in pain and you're trying to avoid the pain, you're just going to manifest more and more and more kinds of smaller pain in your life, whether it's your technology crapping out or you're, being late for something or whatever. All of these things snowball. That's the process of manifesting. So if I'm not manifesting positive things, I'm manifesting negative things, right? Which is what anxiety does, which is why it sort of gets bigger and bigger and bigger if you don't address it. So in order to manifest what you want, you have to fully believe it's possible and get in the energy of having it. And you can't get there from a place of fear, because fear is the opposite of faith, right? So I'm here to tell you, trust the process. Because when I finally calmed down, when I got some tears out, what I did was I said, okay, what is the opposite belief of fear that nothing's going to be okay, right? Fear that everything's going to fall apart, catastrophe is impending and there's nothing I can do about it because all of these factors are out of my control, right? So what is the opposite of that thought? The opposite of that thought is I trust the process. I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be right now and that everything is working out for me and that everything will be okay. And today I'll look for reasons to feel good, right? So that's the thing, that's the opposite. And so that comes to affirmations and using these mantras. And so today my mantra is trust the process. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Trust the process, and that is the opposite of anxiety and fear is trust, trust that everything's going to be okay. Trust in myself that I'll figure it out, trust that, people have my back. Trust that there's a safety net there for me. And also trust that even if I fall apart, even if I don't get any of the things on my to-do list done today, it's also still going to be okay, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. It was on my mind. I felt inspired to share because it was something that had come up for me today. And I think it's really, really, really important and relevant for a lot of us right now to be able to find a way to shift from anxiety to manifesting intentionally, because there are a lot of stressors in the world. There's, a lot of universal stress, which creates an anxious environment around us. And not to mention an environment. Alexa, turn it off. Sorry, guys. My bad. So it doesn't allow us to be calm. And so it takes all of this extra effort and energy to be calm when the energy around us is also anxious. So to be able to shift into that place of intentional manifesting, we have to address what's underneath. And we have to have compassion on ourselves that this is okay. I'm allowed to feel this way. I accept radical acceptance. I accept that this is where I am, that this is how I feel, and that the primary emotion of pain is not something I can just end. And so it's a matter of identifying, feeling, accepting, and moving through those feelings. So that's what I wanted to share today. I hope it was valuable for you guys. If it was, I would love for you to hit that like button, subscribe so you can get more videos, and maybe share this with someone that you think would benefit from it. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you all soon.